When my wife, Emily, and I got married, everyone said we were the perfect couple. We met in college, fell in love quickly, and built a simple but happy life together. I loved her deeply, or at least I thought I did, until something inside me started to change the moment we found out she was pregnant. If you love emotional true stories that hit deep, please take a second to subscribe and turn on the bell. It really helps the channel grow. From the beginning, I had this dream in my head. I wanted a son. I imagined teaching him how to ride a bike, play football, and grow into a man who carried my name with pride. I never said it out loud, but in my heart, I was set on having a boy. Emily, on the other hand, didn't care. She just wanted a healthy baby. She would smile and talk about tiny clothes, baby names, and nursery colors, while I silently hoped for blue instead of pink. When it was time for the gender reveal, I remember my heart pounding so hard I could barely breathe. The nurse smiled and said, "Congratulations, it's a girl." Everyone in the room cheered, but my heart sank. I forced a smile, but deep down, I felt disappointed, and that disappointment grew into resentment. Emily noticed. She tried to talk to me about it one evening. She said, "Honey, are you upset about something? You've been distant lately." I shrugged it off and lied, saying I was just stressed about work. But the truth was uglier. I blamed her for something that wasn't her fault. When our daughter was born, she was perfect. Tiny fingers, bright eyes, soft cries, but I couldn't feel the connection I expected. I should have been overjoyed, but instead, I felt angry. Angry that I didn't get the son I wanted. Angry that people would call me a girl dad. Angry that my dreams didn't go the way I planned. Emily was exhausted but glowing. She held our daughter and whispered, "She's our miracle." I just stood there numb. My mother called later that night and asked, "Was it a boy?" When I said no, she sighed and said, "Oh, maybe next time." That made it worse. The words kept echoing in my head, "Maybe next time." Over the next few weeks, things got tense. Emily tried to include me in everything: feeding, diaper changes, late-night cuddles, but I pulled away. I spent more time at work, avoided home, and when I was there, I barely spoke. She cried a lot, asking what she did wrong. I didn't have the courage to admit that the problem was me, not her, not our baby, just me and my stupid expectations. Then, one night, after a big argument, I packed a bag and left. I told her I needed space. I didn't even look back. As I drove away, I told myself I'd done the right thing, but deep down, a small voice whispered that I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. When I left that night, I told myself it was temporary. I said I needed time to think. But the truth is, I just didn't want to face what I'd done. I rented a small apartment across town and went back to my routine: work, sleep, repeat. No crying baby, no sleepless nights, no wife asking me to help. At first, it felt like freedom. But slowly, that feeling began to rot into something darker: guilt. Emily didn't call for days. Then one evening, she sent me a short message. "I hope you're okay. The baby misses you." I stared at it for a long time, unsure what to say. I typed, "I'll come visit soon," but deleted it. I didn't know how to face them. I wasn't ready to hold the child I had rejected. Weeks turned into months. Friends and family started asking questions. Some thought we were just taking a break, others knew something was wrong. My mother told me I did the right thing. "You need a real wife who can give you a son," she said. But deep down, I started realizing how wrong that sounded. Then one morning, I opened social media and saw a post from Emily's cousin. It was a picture of Emily holding our daughter. She looked so peaceful, smiling down at her baby. The caption said, "Strongest woman I know. Doing it all on her own." The comments were full of support and love. "She's amazing. Such a beautiful baby girl. She doesn't need him." That last comment hit me hard. She doesn't need him. For the first time, I felt replaced. My wife, the woman who once looked at me like I was her whole world, now looked perfectly happy without me. And my daughter, she was growing, smiling, and learning to live without her father. One night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the ceiling, thinking about what kind of man walks away from his family just because of gender. I remembered my father doing the same thing. He left my mother when I was a kid because she only gave him daughters. I used to hate him for that. And now I have become exactly like him. The next morning, I drove to our old house. The moment I saw the lights on, my heart started racing. I almost turned back, but something told me to knock. Emily opened the door, surprised to see me. She looked tired, but strong, like someone who had been through a storm and learned to stand taller. Before I could say anything, I heard a tiny giggle. Our daughter was on the floor, playing with a stuffed animal. She looked up at me with bright eyes, my eyes, and smiled. That small smile broke me. I wanted to speak, to apologize, to hold her, but Emily's face was cold. "You don't get to walk in and out when you feel like it," she said quietly. And she was right. I had walked away, and maybe I no longer had a place in their lives. I didn't know what to say after Emily's words cut through me like a knife. I just stood there, frozen in the doorway, staring at the life I had thrown away. The baby kept giggling, completely unaware of the tension in the room. Emily finally sighed and said, "You can come in, but don't think this changes anything." I nodded silently and stepped inside. The house looked different, cozier, calmer. There were baby toys scattered around, tiny clothes hanging on a chair, and a faint smell of baby lotion in the air. Everything screamed home, yet I felt like an outsider. Emily handed me a small photo album. You missed her first smile, her first laugh, and the first time she said, "Mama." You missed everything. Her voice cracked a little, but she quickly composed herself. Her name is Grace. I named her that because I needed God's grace to survive all this. I flipped through the pictures, Emily holding Grace at the hospital, Grace sleeping peacefully, her little hands clutching a teddy bear. Each photo was a reminder of what I'd missed because of my pride. My throat tightened. "Emily," I finally said, "I'm sorry. I don't even know where to begin. I was stupid, blind, and selfish. I let my family's old ideas poison me. I thought having a son was all that mattered, but I see now that I lost something much more valuable." She didn't respond immediately. She looked tired, not just physically, but emotionally drained. "Do you know what it was like waking up every night alone? Feeding her alone? Watching her take her first steps alone? You broke us, Mark. Not just me, but her too." Tears filled my eyes. "I know," I whispered. "I just want a chance to make things right. I'll do whatever it takes." She hesitated, then said softly, "Grace deserves to know her father. But don't think this means we can go back to how things were. I can't trust you yet." I understood. I didn't deserve forgiveness, not yet. But I could earn it. From that day, I started visiting often. At first, it was awkward. Grace didn't recognize me. She would cling to Emily and cry whenever I tried to hold her. It hurt, but I didn't give up. Day by day, she began to warm up to me. One afternoon, she reached for my finger and smiled. That moment broke something open inside me. For the first time, I realized that love isn't about what you expect, it's about who you choose to cherish. Still, Emily kept her distance. I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't ready to let me all the way back in. And honestly, I couldn't blame her. I had to prove I was a better man, not just say it. Months passed, and I became a constant presence in Grace's life. I took her on walks, fed her, changed her diapers, and learned to sing lullabies badly just to make her laugh. Every giggle, every step she took reminded me of what I almost lost forever. But Emily remained guarded. She allowed me to visit, but never stayed in the same room too long. I could see that part of her still hurt, and I had no right to rush her healing. One evening, after putting Grace to bed, I stayed behind to help clean up. Emily sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone. I gathered the courage to sit beside her. "You know," I said quietly, "Grace is amazing. She's strong, brave, and full of life. Just like her mom." Emily smiled faintly, but didn't look at me. "She's everything I prayed for," she said softly. "I used to wish you'd see that." "I do now," I replied. "I see everything I was blind to before. I see the way she lights up when she laughs, the way she holds my hand like I'm her whole world, and it kills me that I ever thought she was less because she's a girl." She finally turned to me. "You can't erase what happened, Mark. But you can decide who you want to be now." Her words stayed with me. From that night on, I made a promise, not just to her, but to Grace. I would never let her feel unwanted. I would teach her that she can do anything, be anything, and that her worth isn't defined by anyone's expectations, not even mine. Time slowly healed what pride had broken. Emily and I started communicating more. We laughed again carefully, like people learning to walk after a long fall. Grace's second birthday came around, and we celebrated together. Friends and family came, including my mother. When she saw Grace, she whispered, "She looks just like you." I looked down at my daughter, her tiny hand holding my thumb, and smiled. "Yeah, she does," I said proudly. "And I wouldn't trade her for the world." That day, something changed. My mother hugged me quietly, maybe realizing how wrong she had been too. And when I caught Emily's eyes across the room, she smiled, genuinely this time. We're not back to how things used to be, and maybe we never will be. But that's okay. We're building something new, something honest. Now, when people ask if I regret leaving, I tell them the truth, yes, every single day. But I also say that sometimes, losing everything is what it takes to finally understand what really matters. Grace saved me. Not because she's a girl or a boy, but because she's mine. Don't miss out. New videos every day. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always first to see the latest stories.